Well, good morning, church family. I'm Parker, the preteen and middle school minister in the church. Thank you for joining us this morning for our Monday morning Devo. I want to direct your attention over to Nehemiah chapter 9, verse 6, which reads this: You are the Lord, you alone. You have made heaven, the heaven of heavens, with all their host, the earth and all that is on it, the seas and all that is in them, and you preserve all of them, and the host of heaven worships you. So again, each morning we're doing at 9 a.m. We're doing a little Devo here on the Facebook page. So thank you for joining us. From this passage, there are a few things that I want to, I think it reveals about the character of God and his relationship with creation from this passage. This is actually a passage that we're going to be looking at this Wednesday whenever we start our Content of Preaching passage. And so you get a little bit of a sneak peek. But there are three things that I think this passage reveals about God's relationship with creation. One, that he's creator of everything. Two, that he's sustainer of everything. And three, that all of creation worships him and declares his glory. And so let's unpack that a little bit. I think one of the most interesting things is obviously we proclaim that God is creator, but we don't always talk in the same way about how he is sustainer of everything, about how he preserves everything in his creation. And so it's worth pointing out we're not deists, right? Deists believe that God just created the world as like a machine and it can run itself, and then he kind of set back, hands off, and just let it run things. God doesn't do that. He plays an active role in all of creation. He continually works in all of creation, because without him, it would all fall apart. He is a sustainer. And so what that means, what we can basically take from this passage, is that he has complete authority over all creation. And he is Lord of all. And he isn't just Lord of small compartments. He is Lord of all, not just tiny little aspects of life, but all of life belongs to him. And so that's kind of, whenever we talk about salvation, why I think it's I think sometimes we say, will you make Jesus Lord of your life? I think maybe a more accurate way to describe that is, will you recognize Jesus' lordship over your life? Because Jesus is Lord over everyone's life. It's just a matter of whether they humbly submit to that or act in rebellion against their creator. And so one of the other applications of this point is, if God has complete authority, he's the creator, sustainer, and worthy of worship in everything in our life, then we have to recognize that everything is in his hands, not ours, of which I hope you're washing. But it's all in his hands. He holds all the cards, especially in times like this where there's a lot of uncertainty in the world. And so the question then becomes, well, if God has all the cards, if really everything is in his hands, that doesn't really make sense, because doesn't God empower us to work and do things in the world? Yes, he does, but it's by his power. And it's for his glory. It's so that we may worship him, because he is, again, deserving of our worship. He empowers us to work in the world, not because we, have a great vision that we need to enact. He empowers us to work and do things because we are his workmanship, created for good works. Ephesians 2, verse 10. We follow his commandments with the power that he has given us. And so I would just say today, as you're getting ready for the morning, pray today with your family that God would empower you to live worshipfully in this way, appealing to his character. Spencer, in I think it was our Thursday prayer meeting online on Facebook, he talked about how there are different ways we can pray, and one of those is adoration for God's character. Confess these things to God, that he is a good God who's created everything, sustains everything, and is worthy of your worship. And so thank you for joining us this morning. We'll see you tomorrow at 9.